All right. Well, that's the defensive front. Let's take a look at the linebackers. I know we kind of have a little bit of a difference opinion here on the stream as to whether or not Nebraska is going to run a true 4-3 or they're going to run more of a 4-2-5. I have picked starters based on having some 4-3 packages as well as a 4-2-5 package with a JoJo type player also. But I've got 6 names for linebacker. I'll go ahead and start this one because I know I'm going to freak some people out because, as you know, as I said earlier, Caleb Tanner is not in my 2 deep anywhere on the defensive line. But he is my starter at will. 6'2", 225 pounds. He's about that will-sized linebacker back in the 90s that we used to have. Plenty of speed, plenty of ability to cover in space, plenty of ability to tackle. I've got Nick Henrich as my strong side linebacker, and then I've got Luke Reimer as my middle backer, my starter at middle. So am I crazy for putting Caleb Tanner standing up
It's
behind
like
the line
mad scientist type of crazy.
That's my NASCAR package.
That's
right there. You basically. I don't know. I think that this is where the semantics come into play. Like what are we actually running? If you want to label positions, I think that would be a very interesting 4-3 is to have that on there. I think we would. I hope teams wouldn't be throwing on us because that is a very slow defensive front.
It's slow-ish. I think Tanner plays better if he's not having to play heads up on an offensive tackle or a tight end. If he's got room to move and use the speed that he has because he is pretty fast, I just think he works better as a weak side linebacker. But maybe I'm crazy. I don't know. How about you, Tyler? Who are your starting linebackers? I know you're more leaning toward the 4-2-5 side of things, right?
Well, yeah, I think we have 3 packages, right? I think we have my NASCAR package. I'm going to say that 100 times because I want Shenander to run it. I want to see.
And it's the All-Star race tonight.
So this is what Tyler's dream is. It's not like what Shenander's ever hinted at.
Oh my God! Of course he hasn't hinted. He's not tipping his cap. Imagine those pass rushers. We won't need a blitz. We'll have those 4 guys in there on a 3rd and 9, and we're just going to go. So I think that's one package. I think we're going to run some 3-4, and then I think we're going to run a 4-2-5. So my 2 linebackers inside are Reimers, Heinrich. I think they are as good a duo at the inside as there is in the Big Ten. I dare to say they are the best inside duo in the Big Ten. And I do this with no research besides trying to remember what happened last season. But my memory says that a lot of people graduated and they should be in that position to be the number. No, I do. I think they're great. And I don't want to, I could name 6 inside backers because I think we're really deep at that position. But I won't. I guess I'll wait till I'll come back around and name a couple more. But I don't see a true 4-3. I don't see us playing much in that. So I'm just going to stick there.
Alrighty. How about you, Derrick? What do you think? Who's your linebacker?
Well, I'll play your game and do the 4-3 because I do think there's a scenario where we could play it. And again, you got two linebackers. Nobody's going to argue. Henrich and Reimer. Nobody's going to argue those 2. It's just there's no argument to be made. So who's going to play that 3rd spot? Ultimately, I came down and I watched the spring game a few times, and the guy that impressed me the most that I wasn't expecting was Etiva Margaret Clements. However you say his name.
It's Ediva Malga Clements. If
there you
I
go.
Remember right. Yeah.
We'll let you say it then. Hey, I got him playing. The guy impressed me. He looked good playing in the spring game.
Mm-hmm.
If I gotta have a 3rd body out there for linebacker, I can't think of anybody better than him to put out there.
All right, Scott.
Yeah, I think we all are in agreement here that on strong or weak side, Sam or Will or whatever, Nick Heinrich and Luke Reimer, number 1 and number 2, hands down, every single time you get a chance to pick them and put them out there. I would pick them and put them out there, so long as they're not gassed or anything like that. But yeah, that number 3 spot's it's a hard one. I made my preseason bold prediction that I think that a person that that I'm going to be watching would be Randolph Kapai, but that's not going to be my starter by any stretch of the imagination. But I think that he's going to be fighting for a starting spot. And yes, Derrick, I completely agree. Margaret Clements just looked, he was all over the place. He was gunning everywhere. But I do think that probably that third guy that would be starting would just be based on experience. Don't know if I saw much from him from the spring game or really much from him. There was much to be desired last year, but Chris Kolarovic, I still think that he provides a good enough motor and an athleticism that would be much needed. And so I've got, Henrik, Kolarovic, Reimer. That's kind of the 3 guys that I've got with I like the way that you've put it, Justin. You've got 1A, 1B, and that B spot on any side, strong, weak, middle. You could have Margaret Clements, Kapai, Snodgrass if he gets healthy. It's kind of one of those. It's one of those positions that, we have it's really deep in our linebacker position. So, but yeah, obviously 2 guys, Henrik and Reimer, they're going to be out there. So,
okay,
those are for sure.
Justin.
Reimer, Heinrich, those guys, you guys already said it. Those guys are locked in. That third linebacker, I am going to, I tend to think that we're going to be more of a 4-2-5 type of defense. 4-2-5/4-3. So the guy that I penciled in here is Isaac Gifford. I think Isaac Gifford, you've heard the coaches say a lot of great things about him. And I mean, I think when we line up against Northwestern in Dublin, that he is going to be one of the 3 linebackers out there in that 4-2-5. Well, I guess in that nickel, I guess you should say.
Sure.
Yeah.
But he's going to start against Northwestern when they take the field.
Really?
All right.
I think so.
So how about
I don't have any contention with that, honestly. Like that
depends
makes sense.
on
Science checks out.
Yeah, I mean, if Northwestern comes out in like a spread type formation like they tend to do on first down, I got no issue with that either. I think you could see Gifford. I think you could see Kolarovic because he's been practicing at that spot too. So, how about your backups, Justin? Who do you have in mind?
Before you move on, hold on.
Yeah.
The only argument I would have with that is I don't think you're going to see that against Northwestern. Maybe against a spread team like an Ohio State or maybe even a Michigan.
Doesn't Northwestern run a little bit of a spread?
Yeah, but I don't think their spread scares people as much. I think you're looking to get in Holinsky's face as much as you can, but more than try and put a guy in coverage more. I see him loading the box more with Northwestern than I would.
Yeah.
You don't think Gifford can do that?
He could, but I think you definitely want to drop him on coverage a lot more in yard blitz.
Yeah,
he's got more side-to-side speed than
all right
line penetration.
So your backups, Justin, who do you got?
Margaret Clements. Yeah, I was impressed with him in the spring game. I think he is going to be a guy that, if there's an injury out of Reimer or Heinrich, I think I would feel pretty good today knowing that Clements could come in and, there wouldn't be a significant drop off at that position. He's come a long way since he's been at Nebraska. Last year, he did well with the chances that he was given, but he wasn't given a lot of chances. But I think he took a huge step this spring, and it showed in the spring game from what my pea brain saw. I also have Garrett Snodgrass in there as the 4th backup.
Okay.
in there. And then at that nickel, I got Kolarovic also. And
Gotcha.
yeah, he's going to get some time. You know, we've heard a lot about Javen Wright, battled injuries, you know, and so apparently he's going to be put on medical scholarship this year. Is that right?
I think I'd heard that too, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, so
That's breaking news to me.
I've seen it in the Twitter world, so it's got to be true, right?
Yeah, I mean,
yes.
because if he's on
The
medical
ever
scholarship,
reliable of Twitterverse.
Yeah.
well, if he's on medical scholarship this year, that doesn't count for the 85, right?
Correct.
Right.
That would
But it
be-
hasn't been announced. It's just the things I'm hearing on
Speculation.
Twitter is like
Well,
him
that would
and
fix
one
it.
other dude.
I am fascinated with this roster construction down to the final because we're over on scholarships. We're still recruiting. Like, what's going to happen? So that would be an answer. So anyway, but yeah, sorry, didn't mean to cut you off. So
No,
breaking news by Justin.
No,
Not
you're
breaking.
good. You're
Breaking
good.
news.
Twitter broke it. I'm repeating it.
How about you, Derek? Who do you have for your backups at the 2 or 3 spots or whatever the hell it was you picked earlier?
Well,
I'm having a hell of a time keeping track, guys. Don't mind me.
Garrett Snodgrass, I think, is an obvious backup. I've already got Clements playing, so after Snodgrass, it got a little shaky. But I heard a lot out of this Ernest Hausman all spring, so I'm gonna put him out there as a backup, and I'm gonna put Kolarovic out there as a backup.
Okay. Alrighty. Well, I'm kind of similar with you. If we're running 3 linebackers, my backups are Garrett Snodgrass at strong side. I've got Chris Kolarovic as a middle backup. And then I've got Margaret Clements or Ernest Hausman at the weak side. I couldn't decide between the two just because of what I saw from Hausman with the speed and the explosiveness that he showed in the spring game. It was pretty impressive. And I only imagine he's only going to get better coming out of fall camp. So I expect him to get some snaps this year. And then as far as the nickel spot, because you guys were talking about mostly 4-2-5, I've definitely got Isaac Gifford starting the year in that JoJo spot. And then I've got Kolarovic backing him up as well. So Kolarovic could play middle backer in my scheme at backup if somebody like Reimer or Henrik gets hurt. Because I see Reimer being a guy that could play either strong side backer or middle backer in a 4-3 with his speed and his ability to tackle. So, and then Kolarovic, obviously is that backup at nickel. So, let's see here.
I'm 100% in agreement with you on the nickel. Like it's Isaac Gifford's spot. I don't think anybody's going to take it from him. I know they've been playing Kolarovic behind him, so I'll put him as the backup there too. But as long as Isaac Gifford stays healthy, I don't think you're going to see much of anybody else.
Wasn't that where Javen Wright was playing a lot this spring until he got hurt? Wasn't he playing a lot of that nickel spot too?
I don't think he played this.
I don't think he played this spring.
Maybe it was Butler then that I heard that was kind of
he
going back
he
and
was
forth
going
between
to be, Wright
and
was going
and
to be a nickel. Like
That's what they moved.
Okay.
That's what they wanted to move him to last year, and that's what
Gotcha.
they were talking about, moving him out there to that spot. But
because there was a lot of talk. I mean, last year he was the guy behind JoJo until he got injured. Like he was that number 2 guy, and So my backers is honestly, I feel like I should only need to name one name, Clements.
Yeah.
I don't see us playing more than 3 backers. I do not see that world. I mean, shy of injuries, I don't see us rotating. Reimers and Henrik and Clements are 3 solid. The gap after those 3 is so large.
Yep.
Like I don't see. I like Snodgrass. And he's my 4th guy.
that's why I said that, Tyler. That's why I said Snodgrass is my 4th guy for that exact same reason.
Because it is. So I can see like 12 guys on the front playing. I can see a lot of rotation. Inside backer, you're 65 snaps a game. Like they're playing a lot of snaps. Clements is gonna get some snaps, but I don't see a lot. I know we kind of went to nickel. I actually a little bit different. I don't think Gifford is gonna start at nickel. it's close. I think Kolarovic is going to start over Gifford. I think it mostly goes to, I think he might be a little bit better in run defense at this point. I'm really basing this. I mean, it's close. I think they'll both play a lot. I think that's going to be more of a team by team matchup. When we go nickel, I mean, I think it's going to be those teams that have 3 wide receivers and are going to line up. But like against a Northwestern, will you? Like, I think Northwestern might have 3 wide receivers, but I still expect them to run the ball a lot. Against a Purdue, yeah, maybe you're going to have Gifford in there. But yeah, that's kind of how I think. I think it's really close between those two, and that's my separation factor.
I just want to add this about Kolarovic and the Gifford thing. I mean, I think it's going to be Gifford, the guy, right? I think his ceiling is so much higher than Kolarovic. I mean, Kolarovic, he's in his final year this year. And, I mean, by this point, he hasn't really panned out to anything. I mean, you got to play the guy that has a higher ceiling, and it's Isaac Gifford at this point.
I mean, I would say that Kolarovic got some snaps at inside backer last year.
He did.
I mean, he did get some of that. I'm not disagreeing with higher ceiling. I'll be honest, like this whole thought of the JoJo role, like the reason why we called the JoJo role this
was created for him.
It was because you had a special athlete in JoJo Doman. Like I am very apprehensive about putting an undersized like guy and think like, oh, he's gonna be able to handle run protection. Like, and that's what I fear that we're gonna do with Isaac Gifford. I'm fine with Isaac Gifford as a safety, but I have a little bit of apprehension if you're saying, yeah, you be one of my starters and go in there and tackle against Wisconsin. Like,
JoJo was that rare breed of athlete that could weigh 230, 235 pounds and cover a tight end or a slot receiver.
Yes,
fairly easily, and he could come up and defend the run.
Yeah,
he was just very, very rare, and I think that's why I've got Gifford and Kolarovic kind of splitting that JoJo role, because I think Kolarovic's going to be better against the run than Gifford, and I think Gifford's going to be better at covering the slot guy than Kolarovic ever would be. And maybe I'm selling both of them short. I don't know. But that's kind of where my thought process is on it. Scott, have you had a chance to let us know who your backups at linebacker are yet?
Negative.
Go ahead.
I'm pretty much right in the middle of where all you guys are at. Backups, Ernest Hausman looked really good, very athletic, still young, still has a lot of experience to I guess get under his belt, but I wouldn't necessarily put him as a immediate backup for any reason. Margaret Clements, dude, just looks awesome. Honestly, in my opinion, I think that Margaret Clements, his athleticism and his size is comparable to what I remember seeing from JoJo Doman. So he's actually my nickel backup to an Isaac Gifford. Yes. Because if we're talking about the fact that Doman was a special player because he had, he had decent size, pretty great speed, and just he had that vision. That vision was specifically what made JoJo an outstanding player. He was able to interpret plays. It's essentially instantly. That's what made it so great.
Because you made a bunch of noise, Justin. You got to take a drink.
Sorry, Scott. I was like,
step on you.
How are you going to
what?
punish me?
What did I do? But no, if there was anybody that I remember, which of course, anecdotal spring game, you really can't tell much from the spring game. When I was looking at Margaret Clements, he reminded me of a JoJo body type and he was making decisions instantly. He didn't stand for half a second and wait for something to develop. He was committing to his guy right away. And so, yeah, I guess my nickel spot would be between a Gifford and a Margaret Clements. But like I said, I kind of have this weird, bold prediction that Randolph Kapai is just going to just do something. I don't know why. I just have a feeling we're going to see him a lot this year, just as like a backup, a guy to go in when people are gassed out. Just because dude's athletic. Dude's big. He's athletic. He provides pretty quick speed. Dude out of South Dakota. And then, if Garrett Snodgrass can be healthy, if he can be healthy going into fall camp and not get injured again, re-injure something that would be very easy to do during a fall camp. Snodgrass would be a backup as well. I think it's great that we have so many names that we are having to name off and so many speculations, because it does truly mean that our linebacker group is deep and there's really not much separating the number 2 guys from each other.
All right. Sounds good. I'm just curious, do you know, Scott, if Margaret Clements has actually practiced at that nickel spot at all?
No idea. But the only reason why I'm basing that off, the only thing that I'm basing it off of, is because if there was anybody that I saw during the spring game that reminded me of a JoJo Domann, just with where he was at on the field at any given time and how quick he would get there, Margaret Clements was all over the damn place. And that's exactly what JoJo Domann did for us. He was all over the damn place. And if Margaret Clements has that motor and has that tenacity to go freaking blow up his freaking his stamina, he's going to test his stamina to the absolute max, play in, play out, that's what we're looking for, right? I mean, that's why Isaac Gifford is in contention for that. Another reason is that, Margaret Clements is essentially the exact same size as JoJo Domann. So you could plug him in at a true linebacker position, or you could put him in that nickel position, have somebody to back him up as a linebacker, but be able to do that JoJo shit. There we go.
Oh, there we go. Yep.
Take a drink.
Yep. There you go.
But that's my interpretation of it. Could be
You're
full of
so
shit.
totally going to get Justin drunk tonight, Scott. I'm just saying.
It's going to be the black-eyed Susan that got me there.
Does anybody else need to share their backups at linebacker? I think everybody's gone, haven't we?
We're good.